Come and dream with me.
Hello and welcome to What Do You Want to Watch, the Explosion Network's premium media podcast. Every week we get together, talk about movies, TV, and online content, and help you answer the question, how crazy is it that we could have gotten a Steven Spielberg Call of Duty movie? I'm your host, Ash Obley. Joining me today, Dylan Blight.
Who would care? What's that even
Really?
mean? Like, I don't care.
You would have directed a Call of Duty movie?
So what's a Call of Duty movie even mean though? Like, I don't know. Like, it's just like, what's that even look like? Like,
I don't know. I wish I was in the room when he pitched Activision, though. But if you were Activision, would you have, like, okay, I don't know what a Call of Duty movie is, but Steven Spielberg wants to attach himself to it.
pretty sure if Steven Spielberg asked to do anything, you'd just say yes.
Which is why it's crazy that he says no.
Yeah, it is crazy.
Just because he wanted Final Cut and full control. In an industry that he is very accustomed and aware of.
In an industry where he's had Final Cut since Jaws.
Crazy. But, you know, now they're in the safe... Call of Duty's in the safe hands of Paramount, so it's all going to be fine. I guess. All right, on today's episode, we'll be talking about what's on our watch history, going over some film news. We're going to do our Emmy predictions, give you this week's top 3, and give you some thumbs to trailers. Kicking things off, Dylan, you went and saw the latest entry, the final entry in the Conjuring series? Conjuring Last Rites?
It's the last of the main line, I guess.
For now.
This series has, what, 4 or 5 spin-offs, so...
The Nun's come out of it, and then the doll one as well.
Annabelle. There's that. Hold on, let's just look it up. There's not one I'm forgetting. Conjuring Universe. There you go. It has a Wikipedia page. Of course it does. So it goes The Conjuring, Annabelle, Conjuring 2, Annabelle Creation, The Nun, Annabelle Comes Home, The Conjuring The Devil Made Me Do It, The Nun 2, and Conjuring Last Rites. I thought there was another one that was non... Maybe I just thought it was part of the... Crooked Man spin-off, related movies. Oh, this is the one I was thinking of. The Curse of La Llorona. Although it's not an installment in the Conjuring universe, it stars Tony Ameldolna, who reprises his role from Annabelle as Father Perez. Well, close.
Well, isn't that part of the universe then?
Yeah, weird, hey? So Conjuring Last Rites is set in, I don't know, late 80s, some past 85, some around there. Which means these characters have been around for a while. It was crazy, I was like, fuck, we're getting close to the 90s. Like, whenever I think about the Conjuring franchise, I think of, like, you know, early 60s, these movies are set, so we've coming along. The Warrens, played by Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, are sort of retired now and have been for a while. Basically, Ed Warren got told by doctors that he can't have another heart attack or else he could die, so they sort of gave up doing the ghost hunting or whatever you want to call it. Their daughter has now grown up. She's now played by a different actress, obviously, because she's been a little girl in previous films where we've seen her. She's now played by... Nope, I'm never going to remember, so I can't find it out of the corner of my eye on the Wikipedia page, so I'm moving on. But she was played by someone who's quite good. She was good in it. You can find that out.
Tomlinson?
Was it? Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm assuming that's
Judy?
the third billed actor on the list.
Judy, I think her name is?
Yeah, Judy Warren. Mia Tomlinson.
Yeah, so she did all right. So she has a boyfriend now, good life, but she has the same abilities as her mother, so she can like sort of sense and see ghosts and sort of shit. Weird stuff starts happening, and while we're seeing these characters, the Warren family trying to live normal life and not deal with ghosts and stuff like that, we're cutting back to this other family who they're getting haunted. They're all live in one house, and the grandmother, I think, for this daughter, she brought her like this really old mirror, and the mirror's cursed. And it ties back to, at the very start of the movie, you see this cursed mirror and you see it on the night that Ed and Lorraine, they're investigating his house, and the mirror just freaks them the fuck out. It was their first ever case, played by different actors during this part, younger actors. That's while she's pregnant. And then they rush. I'm going to spoil something just because I was like, good Lord, what a horrific way to start a movie. But the first 10 minutes in this like prequel scene, it starts with like they rush to the hospital after this whole mirror thing, and then Lorraine's given birth to Judy as a baby, and then she comes out stillborn, and I'm like, good Lord, they're now like we've just watched like a traumatic, and like they're showing the baby and everything, like they're holding this dead baby. I'm like, fucking hell, like this is. I hope no one's about to, have any dramatic like miscarriage or anything in the cinema watching this. I was like, fucking hell. But no, it's fine. The baby comes back to life. It's Judy. She was stillborn, but then comes to. But it all ties into this mirror thing. So as the film progresses, it's like these two people's stories, and lo and behold, Ed and Lorraine and Judy all get pulled into this family's story for one last case, I guess. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I really didn't like the last one. I thought the last one was a bit of a poop, whatever that one was called. I can't remember. The Devil Made Me Do It, I think. This one is, it's nowhere near as good as like the first one. None of them will ever sort of touch that. But I think by leaning into oddly the family aspect of the characters, that's sort of the most interesting part of the film. The ghost story stuff is nearly paint by numbers. I didn't find it super interesting. In fact, by the end, there was a few loose threads left open that, and not even, I don't think even in a purposeful way for like sequels or anything, just in a way where I'm like, what was, like, it was just a little bit shoddy writing, I think. But the family stuff between Ed and Lorraine and them having to grow old, and then you got Judy, and she's got her boyfriend who ends up being dragged along to this whole thing as well. He was quite good as well. He was a police officer who's just retired because he had like a traumatic event happen to him. Now he's like dragged into this whole witch thing, and he's having to help them out. And it's like, good Lord, do you want to marry into this family, my dude? Yeah, I think it was good. I mean, they have a couple cameos towards the end to really like sort of tie everything up weirdly. It's like, yeah, this is a universe. Remember, and it's quite funny because the couple cameos in, it's not like Marvel obviously, but even in the cinema I heard someone go next to me like a couple rows back go, oh, that's the lady from the second film, like like, so I was like, good for you. Yeah, it was decent fun. They've made enough of these movies now that if you've watched them all, you're here for the characters, less the scares, I think.
Okay. So you went out and watched the early preview screening of an upcoming Australian film, Kangaroo.
Bloody on you, mate. Yeah, I went and watched Kangaroo. I really enjoyed this. I had a good time. This is a feel-good family film. It says inspired by a true story. I looked up what the actual true story is, and as interesting as the true story is, I'm like, the word inspired is very loosely used here.
There's a dude who hit a kangaroo.
No, it's like there's a dude who moved out here to look after kangaroos, and like there's like, there's been a documentary done on him and covered on TV a lot and whatever else. So, but it's like, yeah, it's inspired by the great work that he done by like starting a kangaroo like
charity and stuff.
Yeah, like helping look after him out here. Yeah, so the film like it follows this young girl who I can't remember where it's set actually. Well, I know it's like set Northern Territory, but specifically only because the character, the main girl, she's just moved from Alice Springs to wherever they are now, like Broome or somewhere, I don't know. But
the only other
the only one I could think of, to be honest. But they're in this other place, and it's because her father just passed away, so she's moved there with her mother, and she's like struggling. She's keeps skipping school and stuff like this, but she collects is about right, but she sort of gathers up, and she's always trying to look after these kangaroos, and she's hiding them into the ones that sort of, they have no family. The mother hit by a car or got by hunters is the implication, and these little baby roos are left to basically die for themselves. So she keeps looking after them, and it all ties back to the loss of her father, who was really big into doing the same sort of thing. On the other end of the story, we have the character played by Ryan Core, who's I guess the most recognizable of the main characters in this film. Although Rachel House is in this as well.
Rachel House, Deborah Bauman's in this.
Yeah, there's a few Roy Billing, Ernie Dingo's in it as a small role. There's a few recognizable people, but Ryan Core is like him and the girl are the main
They're the
characters.
leads.
So they're the leads. He's like this weather reporter who wants to do better. Well, he wants a better job, obviously. He doesn't want to be the weatherman anymore. And in an attempt to shine the light on himself and prove that he can do more, when he's reporting on the weather one day at the beach, he sees this dolphin stuck in the shallows or whatever. And as much as all the lifeguards are like, no, don't go help it, it's fine. Like we'll have the actual people come look after it. He like goes out into the water and he pushes it out into the deep ocean, and everyone cheers, and you think it's a great moment. And then like hard cuts to a news story that's like, the dolphin was sick and it couldn't swim and it came into the shallows because its lungs were fucked and then it died. So then he gets like booed. There's all these people like over the top, obviously. It's like all these people like gathered outside the news station he works at, having that sign, just being like animal killer and all this sort of stuff. So he heads out he goes on this drive basically out Whoop Whoop because he gets offered the job out there because he can't get any work anymore in Sydney because everyone hates him because he killed the dolphin. And his car breaks down in the insert place I can't remember the name of, where our kangaroo loving main character is, and the paths cross way because he crashes his car into a kangaroo, killing it. But she watches him be really sad about it and pulls out the little baby Roo, and she then tells him like a fake story to basically keep him and make him have to look after it, where he tries to keep giving it away to people, but she's like, nah, it's cultural. If you've hit the mother and killed it, you've cultural. You've got to look after it. You can't break culture. And he's like, oh, I didn't know, like culture. Like, I guess I got to look after it then. So, but yeah, I mean, it's one of these. It fits into the trope of obviously you've got a character at the start of the movie, this adult character who sort of he's not like a really shitty dude, but you know, Sydney life, all these sort of things, like his career is his whole thing, his whole life, doesn't think about anything else. And he comes out here and he connects with this young girl and her love for her family and her dad and the kangaroos, and she's able to help change him. And you know, it's a I think a heartwarming story. Also, they have miraculously got so many real kangaroos in this, and they're very cute. Is all I'm gonna say. Like, there's a lot of shots
Shocker.
of there's a lot of baby kangaroos in this movie, and they get them doing cute things. So 10 points there. The couple CGI kangaroos, shots where like they save this dude who's gonna hunt a proper size Roo, and he saves it and like takes it back to let it rest at his place or whatever, and then he like gets in the cage with it to, I guess, like he's trying to like check up on it, but of course then they CGI it because it like kicks the living fuck out of him. So that's a funny scene, but for the most part the Roos, like all the baby ones, are real and some of the shots, but that CGI was minimal, which I appreciated. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I would definitely go watch it, especially if, you know, I know no one listening to this has kids, but if you did, well, maybe you do, but your kids should not be listening to it because I swear too much, but kids would enjoy this for sure.
Yeah. So the Kangaroo comes out 18th of September. So a couple of weeks. Right around school holidays, I believe. So
yeah, makes sense.
Makes sense. And then you also went and saw Fight or Flight, starring the resurgent Josh Arnett.
Yeah. I thought this was going to be a streaming movie, and then I kept thinking it was a streaming movie for some reason. I don't know why. I thought it was like a Prime Video one or something like that.
I'm sure it is probably streaming somewhere right now.
Yeah, it's just
like
come to cinemas here.
Rental.
Maybe?
Yeah. It's probably rental elsewhere in the world, but here.
Yeah.
It's finally hit cinemas. So I feel like it came out a while ago.
It's just
from memory.
It's one of those weird ones. Yeah, it's like when the trailers started playing a couple weeks back in cinema, and it was like coming soon. And I looked up, it was like that. I feel like that came and went, or I don't know, very weird. Anyway, it's all right. You can tell it's low budget. You can tell they're chasing after the John Wick, Bullet Train, Brad Pitt, whatever, nobody audience. Obviously, it doesn't. I don't think they have the same level of money to spend as they do, and the story is whatever. It's dumb, but you're just here to watch Josh Hartnett fight some dudes, and that's the best part of the film. I mean, it basically starts with him in where is he? He's in Bangkok. He's exiled there after reasons you'll find out later in the movie. But then basically the American government or something that's implied, which is Katie Sackhoff's working for. They're like tracking this person that all government agencies are after, and all these people across the world, terrorists, whatever, after, called the Ghost, and the Ghost is going to be on this plane, and they can't get any agents to the Bangkok airport in time. So she calls up him, even though she hasn't spoken to him for years, and there's an implied history there, and basically says, if you do this job, I'll fix, I'll get you back into America, I'll get your life back together, I'll fix all your wrongs, sort of thing. So then he gets onto this plane, and then it's not as easy as he thought, because he is also on there with a bunch of people who know that the Ghost is on there, and they also want to kill the Ghost for the bounty, although he wants to keep the Ghost alive because that's his job to deliver instead. So ensue multiple fights and breaks in between, and comedic elements and stuff. I mean, it ticks literally every stereotype for this sort of genre at this stage. Luckily, I think it has some charm with Josh Hartnett. I think he does he does this well. Seems to have practiced a lot of the choreography and stuff. It wasn't super jump cutty and anything that annoyed me. So it seemed like the fighting looked like to be him for a lot of it. So always appreciate that. And he's funny. There's a scene where he gets high on. I think he thinks he's taking adrenaline, and just drinks it all because he's got a gunshot wound, and it turns out it's some frog venom or something that is super potent, and he just has a complete trip. So while he's stabbing this girl in her head and blood's exploding out the top of her head everywhere, all he's seeing is sparklers coming out from behind her and stuff. So the film has some fun with its violence and stuff like that at times. He also, that's the part in the trailer where you see he gets a chainsaw thrown to him for help, and that's towards the end of the movie. And yeah, at that stage, that's where they used all the money, because they're let's just watch Josh Hartnett fucking cut dudes' heads off and whatever else as he fights all these dudes in the airplane as they charge at him with no weapons. And that's the other thing that got me. All these people are running at him, and I'm like, my dude's got a chainsaw, and they're running at him, and then this dude gets his arms cut off, and I'm like, what'd you expect? What did you expect? Yeah, it's okay. You watch it once, forget about it, move on. They set up a sequel at them, though.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so do it on another plane.
No. He passes. I'm going to spoil it. He passes out, right? And then they wake up somewhere else. I'm not going to spoil everything, but he wakes up somewhere else. And then, he wakes up and he's like, oh, I'm alive, because he thinks he's, basically was so beat up that he obviously thought he was going to die. Wakes up in his hospital bed, and gets up, looks around, it's a shithole place, and then all these explosions go off, sounds like tanks outside and stuff like that, and this other character runs in and goes, oh, you're alive. He goes, what the fuck's going on? And then the character says, we're not out of the woods yet, and he just goes, fuck, and it cuts the credits. Yeah. So yeah.
So this morning I watched the first episode of the new HBO miniseries Task, from writer Brad Inglesby, who previously did Mayor of Easttown, starring so it stars Mark Ruffalo as a FBI agent who is assigned to head a task force that is to investigate a bunch of home invasions or violent robberies of various drug dealers in a Copley County area. They want to kind of find them before a massive, because a bunch of the places they're hitting are a biker gang holdouts and that kind of stuff. So the FBI want to stop it before it turns into a potential massive gang war. So we follow Mark Ruffalo, who seems to be who is dealing with some sort of family tragedy involving his adopted son. who has been arrested for third-degree murder, I believe. In dealing with his own personal tragedy. He's prior to being put in as head of this task force, he's kind of been like doing administrative work, or like the first time we meet him, he's like giving out pamphlets and that kind of thing, is like job fairs and that kind of thing for the FBI. I think an interesting element is he mentions to one of the people at the job fair that he was a priest for like 8 years before he joined the FBI. So it's like there's a very weird element to him as a character. So we follow him, but we also follow the group of criminals, I guess, led by Tob Belfry playing Robbie, who it appears to be a garbage collector, but they use this opportunity to like collecting garbage to like scout these houses that the drugs are being made in, and that kind of stuff. So they go through the rubbish and like, oh, they're like getting closer to making the drugs. We better hurry up and like hit the house before the money moves and that kind of stuff. So he is living in a house with his children. He's living in his deceased brother's house with his brother's children and his own children after his partner has left.
That was a mouthful.
And Amelia Jones plays the eldest daughter of his eldest niece, who's pretty much forced to become a maternal figure to all these children. Yeah, and this first episode is just kind of delving into all these people's lives and like following them over as these kind of case starting to comes to a head. Like a reasonably interesting turn as the task force is kind of ramping up and that kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, this is another one of those fantastic HBO Sunday night, Monday morning TV shows. Like, he's got that prime time slot for a reason, and just because it's fucking good. Just a very slow burn, but also like really interesting insight into these characters, and very quickly you come to care about or like worry about all these characters. I mean, it probably helps that these criminals aren't like taking out like innocent people. They're like taking out violent criminals or like stealing from violent criminals. So it's like that's a little bit of an easier, thing to relate to and that kind of thing. But they've all got these internal struggles and issues, and dealing with that. The cast is really stellar. Rahul Castillo plays the other one of the other main criminals, and then on the task force you've got Fabian Frankel from House of the Dragon, Tasu Memdu from The Woman King, and Alison Oliver from Saltburn. So that's a pretty solid cast of characters. So yeah, I mean, really interesting so far. I think the first episode is like 66 minutes, but it just flew by. Really riveting. I'm intrigued to see where people's backstories and that kind of thing delve into, how it all kind of ties together. But yeah, when it gets violent, it gets very violent. When it gets tense, it gets super tense. So yeah, I highly recommend get on the bag when and early. Task is going to be something we're going to be talking about probably end of year.
Yeah,
if it keeps up this standard, and I'm pretty sure it will. Mayor of Easttown was fantastic. If it's even half as good as this, we'll be talking about it in the year. So
we give Mayor of Easttown top TV show. I think we did.
I believe so.
I think we did,
which is fair. And there's a lot of elements that feel like Mayor of Easttown, Philadelphia, all that kind of stuff. So yeah. So I've also watched the first 2 episodes of The Paper, which is the new Office spin-off.
I watched this too. I don't know if I checked into it.
I don't think you did. So it follows. It's the same documentary crew that was following Dunder Mifflin, but now after that series, they're focusing on the employees of the Toledo Truth Teller, a historic but declining Midwestern newspaper that's trying to resurrect itself with volunteer reporters, headed by Domhnall Gleeson, who plays Ned Sampson, the new editor-in-chief, who is coming in and wants to try and reprise paper back to its glory days, mostly by like telling actual local news instead of just getting like copy pasting stories from the AP onto the page and that kind of stuff, and like kind of make it an actual trying to recover journalism, not just be a bunch of clickbait. Like the former managing, I think the still managing editor, Esmeralda. She shows at one of the opening. It's like, how much did Ben Affleck tip this driver? And it's like the most clickbait, like random extra long article that you could possibly have with like a gazillion ads in it and that kind of stuff. I never really got into The Office, but I can see a certain similar charm to this. I think probably with a more like obvious goal every week. Like we need to get stories. We need to get articles to write for the paper. That might be a little bit more story progression to get me interested. I'm enjoying the cast so far. I think Tom Gleason is pretty good in that comedic centerpiece role. I'm enjoying Chelsea Free, who plays Mayor Pretty, who I suspect is the Pam to Ned's Jim, would be my guess from 2 episodes in. But yeah, I'm liking it so far. What do you think?
Thought it was okay. Definitely, it feels, because the thing about The Office is like they would talk about what they did in both the UK and US version, but you would quite often forget because it didn't matter. Like it was
Yeah.
just about the
characters being in that place.
Whereas this is quite interesting because what they're doing is such a central part to everything, to the degree that the show even tries to show these almost salacious footage of old printing machines and stuff to be like, look what we used to do. News machines. I think Domhnall Gleeson's good. I don't mind some of the characters, but yeah, I also only watched the 2 episodes to just get a taste. I think I could keep watching it. It would definitely be like a watching it while doing something else sort of show. I'm not going to sit there and to dive into it like got to go ham. But yeah, it's also like there's just something almost sad about it because you're like, well, you're making fun of it, but like, I mean, yeah.
I mean, the opening credits are making fun of the fact that the newspaper is more often used for other like things than being actually read.
Yeah.
It's used more as a utility thing than an actual source of news. So
I did like the amount of effort they went in the first 5-6 minutes to explain what happened to the company, and then like in the back, I'm like, who cares?
it's like I'm sure if you're a Office fan,
yeah,
like
they're like, here's this one character from that show is over in this one, and he doesn't want anything to do with it.
He doesn't want anything to do it, but he signed his release from the other show.
Yeah, and they're like, no,
still carries over.
Yeah, still carries over. Yeah,
it's pretty amusing. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting in that. Do you know what service that I watched this on?
I watched it on Binge, I think.
I watched it on KO, where they give you they screened the first 2 episodes on that the sports streaming service. Here's the first 2 episodes of the paper.
Okay.
But yeah, the paper, 10 episodes, all released at once, so it's all just there. And it's already been renewed for a 2nd season, so.
Even though it's got mixed reviews, so.
I think it was always going to get mixed reviews, just because of the legacy of The Office and like the comparison. And it's a little bit lazy to say it doesn't live up to The Office when it's pretty obvious that it is not trying to be The Office.
No, it's trying to do something different, yeah.
Yeah, it's just taking the format and like maybe the world, I guess, a little bit. Other than that, that's about it.
I think the closest it got to where I was like, that's the type of humor I would expect in The Office is when they're ringing around trying to get all the stories in the 2nd episode, and then that cop rings back and is like, we've got this serial killer, and then starts playing the tape of him ringing up asking about killers. I was like, that's the sort of like, that's Office humor to me. Like,
yeah. That's pretty funny. All right. So Dylan, you watched a film that we had highly anticipated, I think last year, but never got around to watching. Y2K dropped on Netflix just recently.
Yeah, that's exactly why I watched it. I opened up Netflix last night or whenever it was. I went, oh, why too crazy? I'll watch that. Meh. Which
Okay, yeah.
seems to be the going
Opinion, yeah.
going opinion. Just I don't know, like I don't even know if I can put my finger on it quite. It's all the characters are rather bland. One note, nothing much to them. They don't like they try to obviously tell like this teen romance story and whatever the typical sort of stuff. None of that worked for me. It's not funny enough to be a comedy, not gory enough to be a horror movie. It doesn't really ever try to be scary. It's just like kills happen. It's any sort of messaging about tech taking over the world doesn't seem to care about that. It's like, so I was just really confused. Like, it just seems to be trying to do all 10 genres and ideas in one go, and it does none of them particularly well. And at the end, you just come out going, okay, that was a movie I watched. Like, yeah. So
okay.
honestly, probably one of the least recommended A24 things I've watched.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that seems to be the consensus I've heard from others who watched it. So, all right. So I watched a movie that you talked about last week. Before you'll talk about a movie I watched last week. I went to see The Roses, the new film with Olivia Colman and Benedict Cumberbatch, based on the book The War of the Roses, and also an adaptation of the Danny DeVito film The War of the Roses, in which a married couple kind of the relationship kind of falls apart, I guess. I enjoyed it. I had a great time. I think Olivia Colman, Benedict Cumberbatch, really funny. The supporting cast is really stellar. The way that the tension kind of builds, I guess, maybe a little bit stereotypical of like the man is like upset that the male, he is no longer the breadwinner, and the woman is getting all the love and attention, and he doesn't want to fall back into that kind of role. He believes he is a little bit better than all this. And she is upset that she can't be the motherly figure because she is busy all the time. But I enjoyed like these. I was surprised by how much of a slow burn I guess it is, rather than 15 minutes in they're upset with each other. And then it's going to become all fighting against each other. It's like kind of a more realistic take on probably The War of the Roses than what The War of the Roses Danny DeVito film is, you know, where they're trying to kill each other pretty much the entire time. Very much a slow burn, and then slowly escalates towards the end, and then kind of stops, which I think is my disappointment with it. It just kind of ends, even though it kind of ends in like a quirky, funny, I guess, way. But yeah, I had a good time in the cinema. Lots of laughs in my crowd. So you know, very good time. So I would recommend going out and checking it out. Yes, really funny stuff. I just love that he turned these kids who at the start of the movie are like eating so much sugar and stuff that they're vomiting into cakes and stuff into these like elite athletes. It's freaking crazy. Just, you know, the lengths they'll go to do crazy stuff. All right, Dylan, you watched Stans, which I watched last week. The documentary about Eminem, kind of, but mostly about his fans. What did you think?
Yeah, I don't. I wouldn't. I think basically, like you said, it's sort of surface level for a lot of it, but I still enjoyed it. I think similar to what I was saying to you last week about when you were talking about it. You know, I was a huge fan, especially when I was in high school and stuff. So I think I just enjoyed watching it almost from that perspective. I could weirdly relate to a lot of the stuff where I was like, yeah, but I'm also like, but I was a kid, and like, you know, kid super fan is different to 30-year-old
Adults.
like adults, like, you know, sort of flying across the world and whatever else. You know, I feel like there's lines, right? But yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I guess, some of the people and stuff. But then there's also parts like where that lady who was getting made fun of because she has like the 22 tattoos and stuff. I'm like, that's a lot of tattoos, but also you don't seem that weird. Like, and it's like,
Yeah.
you sort of get when she's being like, people are being like super judgy on me and stuff. I'm like, I don't know. I feel like that's they probably are. Like, if someone had 22 tattoos of their like football team, or I don't know, some people would be like, that's fine. But because it's a person, it's weird, I guess. But
I'm sure there's people with like more than 22 tattoos of Pokemon on their body.
yeah, exactly. So that was one that stood out where I'm like, no, she just seems like she's a big fan, but not in a like weird social.
It's all right. It all worked out for her. So
Yeah. But the other guy, the Russian, Ukraine, whatever he was, where is
French.
he from? French? God, it's not. What's the fucking accent? Didn't sound French to me. He's an odd duck, obviously. He is Stan. I mean, I enjoyed it for what it was. I don't think it's a particularly good documentary. You get little out of Eminem from it. Obviously, the rest is just talking heads of people telling their stories, which is pseudo interesting. You have to be. I would say if you're not a fan of,
you need to have
Eminem
at least had a passing knowledge of Eminem.
Yeah, I don't think you get anything out of this. I mean, I finished it and was like, oh, now looking at Apple Music, and there was the Stan album. And I'm like, oh yeah, put that on, listen to that next couple days, whatever. And then now I've just fallen down. I've been listening to D12 all today, so like, it's fucking set me off on a rabbit hole.
Yep. All right. So you finished up a couple of series that you've been following. You finished watching Revival season 1. How did it wrap up?
Yeah, it's I enjoyed this mostly all the way to the finish. It very much one of those shows where you could tell they were like, it almost felt like they were doing something certain ways because they weren't sure if they would get another season or not. Although obviously, like all TV shows, it does end with the ability for a second season, but it almost felt like in the last episode in particular that they were being really careful in case they didn't get to do a second season. But I think they for a story that's been done in different sorts of TV shows and mediums now, where it's a whole bunch of people either disappear or come back to life, and in this case, it's a whole bunch of people who were dead come back alive and can't die now. This show does have an interesting take on it. It leans heavily into the almost religious side of it, and but then also the mystery that runs throughout the entire first season is who killed the main character or co-main character. I don't know. The two sisters are the main characters. One's the cop and the other one's the one who died. But yeah, trying to find out what to do that. And they wrap that up, and we can go for a second season. I'd happily watch more. I enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed the world. They set up some romances and little bad guys in the background. CM Punk's in it. He dies. Spoilers. That's funny.
Okay. Then you've also finished watching Hell House. How'd that wrap up? Oh, Hell Hotel, sorry.
Yeah, Hell Hotel. They shit the bed towards at the ending, which they've done for some of those slasher series as well. From what I haven't watched all of them, but quite often, if I see people's reviews, it'll be like it was good, and then they fucking they ruin the ending or whatever. But like they do some of the weirdest decisions. I don't even know how to talk about. No, fuck it. Who cares about sports? So they get down to the end, and there's a girl and a guy alive. And the whole series, the mystery is, there's two people there to kill us, right? But then there's another killer dressing up like they're dressing up, and no one knows who this person is. So the two original killers who killed in this house 30 years ago when they were younger have come back, and they're pretending to be like caught in the house with the rest of the people while they've brought all their gear and their mask and whatever, and they're killing people. But then there's someone else with the exact same get up also killing, and no one knows who they are, including the original killers. So we see the POV of the killers arguing about who the other killer could be, and they're trying to work it out while everyone just thinks it's one killer, but there's actually two killers. It's confusing as that is. But the thing is, at the end of the penultimate episode, when the final two characters left after they've killed the killers, and they think they're fine. They're just waiting for the cops to show up. The guy looks, he sees blood sort of dripping from the roof, and he looks up in one of those little compartments, and there's a heart up there. Oh, there's a heart. Some cult shit's happening, right? So they do it obviously to imply that it's the girl that's the killer, but then by the end of the show, it's no, it was actually him. So then the whole looking up and being surprised the heart's there, even though she was asleep at the time, they only did that to try and throw the audience off. It doesn't actually make sense in the context of the characters. It only makes sense in you did it in the penultimate episode to throw people off before the finale, which is dumb, and I hate that. It's just you're riding a roller coaster, not a
Actual story.
actual story. Yeah. So it was okay.
All right. Then you've been binge watching something called Horror's Greatest.
Yeah, that was on Stan. I'm not Stan. Shudder, sorry. I've enjoyed it. It's it comes up, I think it says documentary. It's not a documentary. It's a the 2 seasons. I think it's I don't know, 5-6 episodes each. And it's just a bunch of people just talking about different horror themes per episode. So I think they tick off a lot of the classics in the first season of monster movies, Japanese horror comedies. And then towards the end, the last episode of the first season was straight up just Stephen King adaptations. And then in the season 2, they get into some more specific stuff like animal horror movies, space, film scores, and some other stuff. The most featured people in it are weirdly David Dashelman. Desmatchin. He's in it. Not John. Joe Hill is highly featured. Kate Siegel, highly featured. Alex Winter is one of the main talkers. A bunch of other people too, but they're I think the biggest names I can think of. So it's not really a documentary. It's just more it's one of those shows. Remember when they used to do top 10 or whatever on Win, where it was just these
they used to be a ton of those kind of shows.
Yeah, which I always used to love watching those. It would just be Australian B-level celebrities talking about Australian movies or music or
moments
whatever.
in history or
moment in history,
those kind of stuff. Yeah,
Molly would be on there being talking about how hottest whatever. So it's that same sort of vibe, at least to me, where it's just you've got people who either make horror movies or horror film journalists, book writers, whatever. They're just talking about the history of things or a genre as a whole, their love for it, and the history and how it goes. And when they get into some of the episodes, I think the Japanese horror one's really interesting. They don't go straight for the ones you'd think of, which is obviously The Grudge and Ring and whatever that people go to. They start all the way back in fucking black and white movies I've never heard of, but they're talking about. I'm like, oh, this is really interesting. They're these really, they're talking about pre-war horror movies and stuff. They start talking about other times that they're talking about Frankenstein and Frankenstein's monster and how interesting that is as a pre-war horror movie, and how American horror movies shifted after the war and had less love in them. And they're saying, although that's a horror movie because it's Frankenstein, but there was still a touch of it. Yeah, I found it interesting, obviously, as a fan of the genre, and a lot of people that were talking in it as well I'm fans of. So yeah.
All right. So I also watched a documentary called Ruby Red-Handed: Stealing America's Most Famous Pairs of Shoes. So this follows in 2005, a pair of ruby red slippers from the Wizard of Oz were stolen from the Judy Garland Museum, where they were being loaned. And
I feel I remember hearing about this.
And a lot of this footage apparently is shot in 2018, 2019. At which point they still had not been recovered. And so it documents kind of the case and the disappearance, and eventually they finally get returned in 2024. These pair of ruby slippers that kind of disappeared off the face of the earth, because it wasn't they were going around in private collections or being sold or anything. Or like the police had
someone just wanted
absolutely
to
no
wear them.
leads.
People
for,
just wearing them at home.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the documentary kind of dives into like the history of Julie Garland, kind of the importance of these slippers, and like kind of how meant to talk about like how they're not actually red, they're like burgundy, because on screen on camera that's how it would come off as ruby red with the I don't know, this I can't remember the word for the like the little sparkles or whatever of the shoes, and that kind of stuff, and like they've worked out that these were probably the ones that Julie Garland wore the most, because like they had the most wear on them, or like the most padding, to make sure one, they had to have padding because to protect the Yellow Brick Road from actually getting damaged, because obviously it was just like spray paint or whatever. It's like you don't want to damage the actual set and that kind of stuff. So I mean, it's fine. It's like a very much a newsy like it could have, it feels very much like a 60 minutes article that's kind of, or 60-minute piece that's been stretched out to like an 88-minute documentary. It feels very like, obviously not a lot of production value or money has been spent on this, and like it just seems like one news reporter's like kind of interest, like what happened to this case, and like you know, they're kind of scrounging around trying to find clues on their own and that kind of stuff, and then getting leads from the police and that kind of stuff. I think one of the more interesting interviews was the actual person who owned the ruby slippers and was lending it to the museum. He was very upset, not only with the police but with the museum for letting it happen, and like his kind of moments are like really interesting, and like obviously they finally returned the slippers to him. But then it also goes into, can private owners actually own these for an extended length of time? You know, because of how much they're worth, how much like insurance costs and that kind of stuff, and just the notoriety of having these things. Like apparently they interview another guy who was like, he got Glinda's wand, and the actual wand used in the film, and he only kept it for like a few months because like the notoriety being that person who owns that wand is like, you know, was very harsh and that kind of stuff. But you know, he was very happy because apparently on not long after he sold it on Good Morning America, like Ariana Grande was holding it. You know, obviously because the ties back to the Wizard of Oz. So yeah, I mean the documentary ends with the selling of the ruby red slippers, and then they go for a lot of money. So really interesting. It's interesting to know there's only 4 pairs that they use for it, and like one of them's in the Smithsonian, one's in the Oscar Museum. I can't remember where the other pair was, but then yeah, some private collector bought this pair in the end of the film. So reasonably interesting, but it's a fine. You could probably just read a news article and get the same kind of information. So, all right, let's move into the mandatory Netflix segment of the show. Dylan, you've watched all of Wednesday season 2. How's it compare to the first season?
That's a loaded question. Yeah, it was okay. I don't think it's anything like the first season, but also it's been so long that I was struggling to think
what happened in the first season.
Yeah, I mean, the first season, at least in my memory, it's a teen school drama, but obviously super weird and emo because it's Wednesday.
Yeah,
and obviously a little bit of mystery or whatever. But season 2 is Wednesday's a fucking detective now, like full blown. We're just investigating stuff, and there seemed to be like the school's there, a lot less school. School's not as important. Some of the side characters get pushed more to the side. Doesn't seem to be as tight knit a group. They even her Wednesday and her BFF, that by the end of the first season, at least I guess, the Australian actress, whatever her name is, Enid. They don't even hang out a lot throughout the entire second season. It's only really until towards the end of part 2 that they get some more time together. So a lot of that was odd. I think the other thing is obviously when you start it and Pugsley's like looks like he's grown about a meter between seasons, which again, how does it take so long to make a fucking oh god. What else is there's Steve Buscemi's the principal now and he's whatever. Like I didn't really Billy Piper's in it, but she's mostly set up for a season 3 character, but for all intents and purposes, she's just sort of backdoor character to a third season, so she's not really doing a lot. I guess the positive for this season is we get Catherine Zeta-Jones and Louise Guzman, both in it like nearly every episode now, which is really good because it makes it obviously feel a bit more like the Addams family all together and sort of stuff like that. And they're good. I enjoy that. It's them being there also makes sense. They set up the how and why in the first season as to why they're hanging around. So yeah, I mean, it just felt off. The whole thing just
felt like a slightly different show.
Yeah, it felt like a slightly different show, and not one that's bad. It's just one that I'll be like, yeah, that was okay. Like, whatever. It was watchable. It was fine. Like, but I don't. There's not a single moment or character like when you think back to watching the first season between obviously the dance and like Wednesday and Enid, everyone fell in love with those characters, and all, like I felt like there was a lot more key moments and bits that people liked. Whereas, I'm like, when we think back on season 2, I just don't know what was here. What was here to really. I'm not saying they need like a meme moment again, but like it felt like it was just it existed, but didn't feel the same.
All right. So I saw you also binge watched Long Story Short, the new animated series from the creator of BoJack Horseman.
Which I've never watched.
Yes.
I really enjoyed this. I thought it was quite good. So the setup for this one is it basically follows this the Schwooper family. And each episode, well, the first episode starts when they're kids, and then you quickly get an idea of how the show's going to sort of jump backwards and forwards because it starts when they're kids. The main character is like the son, I guess, is the one you stick with the most, the oldest son. Although some episodes do focus on other people and whatnot, but it starts when they're kids, and then we flick forward to now when he's like an adult, and then between episodes at times it'll like jump forward and back, but it's also done in a way that like sometimes you'll get context. Like one of the episodes, I don't know, second, third, whatever it is, it's like you see that the daughter, she's got a wife now and all this sort of stuff. But then an episode later, you get to see how they met and stuff, like or even their arguments about having a child and how that comes together. So it constantly like sort of jumps backwards and forwards, even though you may know where it's going to end up. It's about the journey, I guess, along the way. I found it. I think it's very funny. It leans heavily into, I guess, is it weird to call it Jewish humor? But like, there's obviously a lot of the thing is, I think it's not something where I'm like, I don't get it. You know what I mean? Like, there's almost like you sort of, I feel like any family could get it, but obviously it leans heavily into some things that are when they go there in the first episode and the dude goes there with his wife, or not his wife, but his girlfriend, and then she starts cleaning things and gets told off because you can't use that, and then the mum's like always talking at a million miles an hour and can't do this, all this sort of stuff. Like they have a very interesting family, and then yeah, I thought it was very good. I think the voice cast is having a lot of fun too. Shout out to Dave Franco, who shows up in like every second episode as the youngest brother's like best friend, but he's constantly just a dude playing a stone dude or something. And even when he's like a kid, he's just handing out weed, and then when he's still an adult later in the series, he's still just like, yeah, dude, let's do drugs, all this sort of stuff. So yeah, I thought it was fun.
All right. And then You also watched Katrina, Come Hell or High Water. Hell and High Water.
Yeah. I thought this is a very interesting documentary because, like, everyone knows what Katrina is. I guess if you say the name like Katrina, and you like in the context of a natural disaster, everyone knows like what you're sort of talking about. But the thing I found quite interesting about this is it's 3 episodes, but the 3 episodes are done so differently because they're done by completely different directors, and the story goes in completely different directions per done as well. So the first episode, I guess, is the most stereotypical of all the like it follows sort of just what happened and like what sort of alarm bells were signed ahead of Katrina and then what stopped people from getting out and how the government fucked over the poorer groups and the poorer neighborhoods, and like how even after they survived the initial thing, it was actually the aftermath of the flood waters like breaking down, and then people couldn't get out and they couldn't get fresh water, and then they like also covering how people would be trying to cross bridges and the fucking armies they like stopping them with guns, and they've interviewed. I think it's the second episode where they interviewed this army dude the most, where he got like sent in as I don't know, some general. And there's like a clip of him because like all the cops and whatever else was sent in, and they're all in the city like it's like fucking martial law or something, like holding their guns up in there and real threatening way, obviously, to all these people who are just they just want food and water and help. And this general's like coming in, like yelling at everyone, "Put your gun down! Put your gun!" Like cops, other people in the army, like everyone's listening to this dude. He's just like, and he's saying in interviews how he just thought it was terrible. He's like, these people just want help, and everyone's holding their guns up like we're in fucking Iraq or some shit, like because similar time period, I guess, as other things. So that's what everyone was thinking and talking about. The third episode is where, and I've looked at some reviews where people turn on the series because Spike Lee comes in, directs the third episode, and he not only is it edited in a very, very like Spike Lee way, but he goes, his focus is the social side, I guess, if you want to, and that's why people turn on. I think on the third episode for him, he comes in and he really wants to. He's talking to people about how it affected their family and their lives, but also how racism led to certain things. Even to they have a degree. There was cops. They show cops who this group of like a legit racist group was like fucking shooting people during Katrina who were like trying to walking down the street, and they'd be like, "No, they were trying to break into my house," and then they actually got charged afterwards and stuff because they found out it wasn't true. So, but no, I thought this was really good. Would recommend.
Okay, that's everything in our watch history. Let's move into a little bit of film news. And this week we got the big announcement of what is coming next in the DCU. Reading from the Hollywood Reporter, James Gunn has unveiled the next project in his Superman saga. Man of Tomorrow will be in theaters July 9th, 2027, the filmmaker revealed on Instagram on Wednesday. The announcement was accompanied by a drawing by DC head Jim Lee, featuring Lex Luthor in a green and purple mech suit, with Superman leaning against him, a slight smile on his face as he holds a screwdriver. Luthor's armored suit, designed to battle Superman, has been seen for decades and in animation and comics, but never in live action. Gunn has been teasing this new feature for a few weeks, saying that his next project won't be a direct sequel to Superman, but will feature characters audiences already know from his summer hit. I've already finished the treatment for the next story in what I'll call the Superman saga, Gunn told the Hollywood Reporter last month. I'm working on that and hopefully going into production on that not too far away from that today. It's unclear what the story will be. There was a Superman, a Man of Tomorrow animated film in 2020 that featured Lobo. The animated film was based on the 2003 miniseries titled Superman Birthright, which was a modernization of the Superman origin story. So unlikely to be that. Of course, coming up in the DC studios has filmmaker Craig Gillespie's Supergirl due for June 26th, 2026, and James Watkins' horror title Clayface slated for September 11th, 2026. Dylan, are you excited for Man of Tomorrow?
Sure. It's one of those things. It's like because there's like several films before. I'm like, yeah, I'll get it. I'm more excited for the other stuff. It's like, I'm actually just Clayface is the one. That's the one.
Just because it's so different.
Yes, so different. Mike Flanagan doing the script and everything. Hell yeah. That just has the most potential for something different to me. And it has it can prove to me that they're willing to allow them to do all different types of things. Like if Clayface is actually a horror movie, or like, even if it's PG horror, but it's still a horror movie, right? That's where I'm like, okay, we're actually doing the DCU right now. We're doing the full, because currently they're like sort of teasing it. They're like, yeah, Superman and Peacemaker's swearing and all this. They're like, and whatever else. I'm like, yeah, but
they're pretty totally different. Yeah.
I'm like, Clayface is going to be the one for me. But yeah, as far as the Superman film, of course we're going to get another one. It's good to see that he's not getting delayed on it, because people kept being like, oh, the film failed, the Superman's cancelled, DCU's dead, all that stuff we're hearing. So
no, this is potentially incredibly quick turnaround.
Yeah, very quick.
The kind of turnaround we haven't seen in superhero movies in a long time.
No,
which
so
may be kind of the downfall of superhero movies at the moment. Like, especially, or like at least the MCU, where there's been maybe too long between films in a series. And that's been the issue.
Yeah, well, the Marvel was pumping out so much shit at one point, like shit, literally. That was the problem. Now they've gone reverse of the direction, and they're like, no, we're just
not putting out.
Correct, and we're putting nothing out. So, I think him getting greenlit to just go for that is a good sign for how everything's received behind the scenes there, and how all that's sort of going. And I wouldn't read too much into the title. I think it's just like it's a well-known like Man of
moniker.
So it's like whatever. Like
I
don't think that means anything. Purely
from an SEO thought, just like, why would you call it Man of Tomorrow?
You might change it.
Why wouldn't you just call it? I'm sure in Superman some region it'll be called Superman Man of Tomorrow.
Yeah. Superman and Supergirl both had their subtitles dropped. So
yeah, so the title is subject to change.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm keen. I'm surprised. Maybe part of me is surprised that they're going to bring Lex back straight away. Even though Nicholas Hoult was fantastic, I thought maybe give it a little bit of time.
Remember, one of our complaints is that quite often the good villains just one and done.
That's true, but you didn't need to. Maybe you don't want to oversaturate or use that villain too much. Because also Lex Luthor is such a prominent villain throughout history, film history, even. But I can't be upset, and it looks like he'll potentially be on a level playing field with Superman if he's in that suit. Maybe working together against a bigger threat. It seems to be an implication. An uneasy alliance potentially. So Brainiac probably is an easy guess. Hopefully not Darkseid. That would be the worst thing that they could do.
Leave that alone for a while. Yeah.
Just at least another 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
We don't need to do that. So really keen. I mean, all the DC. I think the fact that he's got it'll be like 2 years in between. He's put a script together, or at least a template or whatever. One that he's happy enough to move ahead with, very promising. So everything's looking up for DC stuff. So you should be sure to subscribe to All New DC Cast, where we are talking about all things DC universe related. This weekend, the Creative Emmys happened. So these are obviously all the Emmy Awards for the more niche categories. For your most outstanding game show or outstanding casting for a drama series. Yeah, it should be. No, they weren't eligible this year, so in the time frame. Interestingly enough, I don't know if you can read too much into who won. The studio took out 9 Creative Arts Emmys. Penguin took out 8. SNL 50, the anniversary special, took out 7. Severance took out 6. And then Andor, Arcane, Love, Death and Robots, and The Traitors all took out 4. So it's not exactly. I don't know if that moves the needle in people's opinions on what's going to actually win at the Primetime Emmys, but you know,
No, I don't think
it's
these
good.
ones ever mean
I'm
anything.
happy Andor got some sort of love because that is a fantastic series, and you should have gotten more. Few key highlights of things that won. I think that people will be interested in. Outstanding television movie went to Rebel Ridge over Bridget Jones' Mad About a Boy at the Gorge, Mountain Head, and Nonnas. Conan O'Brien, the Kennedy Center Mark Twain Prize for American Humor, took out Outstanding Variety Special pre-recorded, which were, I guess you would consider the stand-up special category. Potentially the last ever Mark Twain Kennedy Award ceremony that'll ever happen if Trump has his way. What else? Arcane, of course, took out Outstanding Comedy Program. Interestingly,
What did you say?
Arcane took out Outstanding Animated Program. I think I said comedy.
You said comedy. I was
Yeah.
like, what?
I apologize. As we talked about the last time, in the category of outstanding short form non-fiction or reality series, or the best making of series, Adolescence took out that award. Surprisingly, I would say. Because all the other ones are bigger names. The interesting categories were, I guess, the outstanding guest actor and actresses. Sean Hassady for The Pit won for best guest actor in a drama series. I'm really happy about that. Outstanding guest actress in a drama series was Merritt Weaver for Severance. Outstanding guest actress in a comedy series went to Julianne Nicholson for Hacks. And then in the battle of all the studio guest stars, Bryan Cranston came out on top for his performance in the studio. So, turns out he's better at playing somebody else than all those people were at playing themselves.
Is it a guest performance though? Because he's playing a character. Everyone else is playing like actual guest performances as themselves.
They're all technically acting, and they're not, recurring roles. So
He was also in a couple episodes.
I know it's confusing. It can be very confusing. All right, let's just leave it at that. Julia Andrews took out outstanding character voiceover performance for her role in Bridgerton. What else we got here?
What?
The Boys
Is
took
there,
out.
Is there voiceover in that or something like?
Guess so.
Okay.
Like narration or something. Oh, Barack Obama won for best narrator for a documentary series for Our Oceans on Netflix.
Just
So
did that from his
congrats.
bed. Yeah.
What else? Best music, outstanding score for dramatic. No, best music composition for a series went to Severance, and best music composition for a limited anthology series, movie, or special went to The Penguin. Outstanding music direction went to the Apple Music Super Bowl halftime show starring Kendrick Lamar.
Fuck you, Drake.
Outstanding original music and lyrics went to The Boys for We'll Keep the Red Flag Flying. Let's put the Christ back in Christmas.
Yeah, that's funny.
That's funny. And then stunts, outstanding stunt coordination for a comedy program went to the Righteous Gemstones, and outstanding stunt performance for a drama series went to The Boys. I think those are the key creative Emmy Awards.
Shout out the stunts.
Shout out to stunts. Good times.
Looking forward to the Oscars.
Yeah, the sooner the better.
What have we got? 2 years left?
I believe so.
2027?
Yes. So those were the creative art Emmys, but this coming week, the Primetime Emmy Awards will be taking place. So we need to give our predictions. So let's get into that. We're reading from a ballot provided by the Gold Knight. Very good resource there. So we'll be reading from the bottom up. So best variety special live nominees are the Apple Music Super Bowl. I'm trying to figure out what numeral that is from the Roman symbols. 59? Halftime show starring Kendrick Lamar. Beyonce Bowl, the Oscars, SNL 50, the anniversary special, and the SNL 50, the homecoming concert. What are you predicting?
Kendrick.
I'm predicting SNL 50. Okay. Best scripted variety series. The nominees are Last Week Tonight with John Oliver or Saturday Night Live. I've gone Last Week Tonight. All right. Best talk series. Nominees are The Daily Show, Jimmy Kimmel Live, or The Late Show with Stephen Colbert.
Stephen Colbert.
I've gone The Daily Show, but it'll be interesting.
Mm.
Do they just give it to him because they know he got cancelled? You know?
Fuck Trump.
Is there like a sympathy vote element here? Do you know? Potentially. So that could be interesting. All right. Best supporting actress in a limited series or movie, and nominees are Erin Doherty for Adolescence, Ruth Negga for Presumed Innocent, Chloe Sevigny for The Monsters, the Eric and Lyle Menendez story, Jane Slate for Dying for Sex, and Christine Tremaco for Adolescence. Done.
Jenny Slate.
I've got an Erin Doherty for Adolescence. Best supporting actor in a limited series or movie. Nominees are Javier Bardem for Monsters, the Eric and Lyle Menendez story, Bill Kemp for Presumed Innocent, Owen Cooper for Adolescence, Rob Delaney for Dying for Sex, Peter Skarsgård for Presumed Innocent, and Ashley Waters for Adolescence. I've gone Owen Cooper for Adolescence.
Javier Bardem.
Best lead actress in a limited series or movie. The nominees are Kate Blanchett for Disclaimer, Megan Fahey for Sirens, Rashida Jones for Black Mirror, Kristen Milotti for Penguin, and Michelle Williams for Dying for Sex. Still,
Michelle Williams.
gone Kristen Milotti.
Yeah,
Wow.
well, as much as
It was a long time ago, to be fair.
I'm
It's
predicting
probably
not.
possibly the oldest show on this list.
Yeah, still.
Still.
I
best
remember
lead-
everyone liking it.
Best lead actor in a limited series or movie. The nominees are Colin Farrell for The Penguin, Stephen Graham for Adolescence, Jake Gyllenhaal for Presumed Innocent, Brian Tyree Henry for Dope Thief, or Cooper Coke for Monsters, the Lyle and Eric Menendez story. Done.
Stephen Graham.
I've gone Stephen Graham as well. Best directing for a limited series or movie. The nominees are Adolescence, Dying for Sex, The Penguin, episode Sintani, The Penguin, episode A Great or Little Thing, Sirens, episode Exile, or 0 Day. I've gone Adolescence.
I'll also go Adolescence.
Best writing for a limited series or movie. The nominees are Adolescence, Black Mirror episode Common People, Dying for Sex episode Good Value for Diet Soda, The Penguin episode A Great or Little Thing, and Say Nothing episode The People in the Dirt. I've also gone Adolescence for this.
Adolescence.
And then best limited or anthology series. The nominees are Adolescence, Black Mirror, Dying for Sex, Monsters, The Lyle and Eric Menendez story, or The Penguin. Dylan.
Monsters.
Wow. I've gone Adolescence.
I'm going they give them all the rest and then throw this one to Monsters.
Jeez. Curveballs.
Yeah. Love some curveballs, you know?
All right.
You haven't watched Adolescence yet, still, have you?
I still have not, but I'm pretty sure they're just going to give it all the awards. It's too much buzz. Best directing for a drama series. The nominees are Andor, Who Are You? The Pit, 6 p.m. The Pit, 7 a.m. Severance, Chicory Bardo. Severance, Cold Harbor. Slow Horses, Hello Goodbye. And The White Lotus, Amor Fati. I've gone The Pit, 6 p.m.
White Lotus.
Best writing for a drama series. The nominees are Andor, Welcome to the Rebellion. The Pit, 2 p.m. The Pit, 7 a.m. Severance, Cold Harbor. Slow Horses, Hello Goodbye. And The White Lotus, Full Moon Party. Dylan.
Andor.
I love it too. I think it's going to be Severance, Cold Harbor.
I've got to pick one for Andor somewhere. So I'm feeling like
It's got to get one on the primetime show, right? Best directing in a comedy series. The nominees are The Bear for Napkins, Hacks for A Slippery Slope, Mid-Century Modern for Here's to You, Mrs. Schneiderman, The Rehearsal for Pilot's Code, and The Studio for The Oneer. I've gone The Studio.
Yeah, the studio.
Best Writing for a Comedy Series. The nominees are Abbott Elementary, Back to School, Hacks, A Slippery Slope, The Rehearsal, Pilot's Code, Somebody Somewhere, AGG, The Studio Promotion, and What We Do in the Shadows, the finale. Done.
I'm gonna go to Rehearsal.
Okay, I've gone The Studio as well. Best Reality Competition Program. The nominees are The Amazing Race, RuPaul's Drag Race, Survivor, Top Chef, and The Traitors. I've gone The Traitors.
Drag Race.
Okay. Best Supporting Actress in a Drama Series. The nominees are Patricia Arquette for Severance, Carrie Coon for White Lotus, Catherine Lanasa for The Pit, Julianne Nicholson for Paradise, Parker Posey for The White Lotus, Natasha Rothwell for The White Lotus, Amy Lou Wood for The White Lotus.
Parker Posey.
I've also gone Parker Posey.
Don't even live here in Taiwan.
Best Supporting Actor in a Drama Series. The nominees are Zach Cherry for Severance, Walton Goggins for The White Lotus, Jason Isaacs for The White Lotus, James Marsden for Paradise, Sam Rockwell for The White Lotus, Tramell Tillman for Severance, and John Turturro for Severance. I've gone Walton Goggins.
I'm going Walton Goggins, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I figured.
As much
Best
as
Supporting Actress.
I'd be okay if Sam Rockwell won it for his fucking monologue about fucking anything that moves.
Best Supporting Actress for a Comedy Series. The nominees are Liza Colon-Zayas for The Bear, Iron Ironbinder for Hacks, Catherine Hahn for The Studio, Janelle James for Abbott Elementary, Catherine O'Hara for The Studio, Cheryl Lee Ralph for Abbott Elementary, and Jessica Williams for Shrinking. Dylan?
Hannah Ironbinder.
Okay, I've gone Catherine O'Hara. Best Supporting Actor in a Comedy Series. The nominees are Ike Barinholtz for The Studio, Coleman Domingo for The Four Seasons, Harrison Ford for Shrinking, Jeff Hiller for Somebody Somewhere, Eben Moss-Backrack for The Bear, Michael Urie for The Shrinking, and Bowen Yang for Saturday Night Live. I've got Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
Please.
Come on. Let's do it.
Just
can you have him on stage? So you can just have him go, anyway, comedy, I couldn't get a more of a drama actor and a comedy thing. Thank you very much.
All right. Best Lead Actress in a Drama Series. The nominees are Kathy Bates for Matlock, Sharon Horgan for Bad Sisters, Brett Lauer for Severance, Bella Ramsey for The Last of Us, and Kerry Russell for The Diplomat. Dylan?
Brett Lauer.
I've also got Brett Lauer. Best Lead Actor in a Drama Series. The nominees are Sterling K. Brown for Paradise, Gary Oldman for Slow Horses, Pedro Pascal for The Last of Us, Adam Scott for The Severance, and Noah Wiley for The Pit. I've called Noah Wiley.
That's what I want. Also Noah Wiley.
All right. Best Lead Actress in a Comedy Series. The nominees are Uzo Aduba for The Residents, Kristen Bell for Nobody Wants This, Quinta Brunson for Abbott Elementary, Ayo Edebiri for The Bear, and Jean Smart for Hacks.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Quinta Brunson.
Ooh. I've gone Jean Smart.
Is it the time, you know? Time to switch over and give Abbott some love.
Maybe. I mean, it's fourth season?
Fourth season, but like The Bear, we're done with that. Hacks, we're done with that, you know?
I think so.
Time will tell.
Best Lead Actor in a Comedy Series. The nominees are Adam Brody for Nobody Wants This, Seth Rogen for The Studio, Jason Segel for Shrinking, Martin Short for Only Murders in the Building, and Jeremy Allen White for The Bear. I've gone Seth Rogen for The Studio.
That would be very funny, hey.
They just play the scene in the...
Yeah.
It's like, us artists are just as important as you doctors. All right. Best Drama Series. The nominees are Andor, The Diplomat, The Last of Us, Paradise, The Pit, Severance, Slow Horses, and The White Lotus. Done.
Andor.
I've gone The Pit. I love Andor to win, but
good vibes only.
Yeah, I get good vibes out there, but
do it or that's it. I'm suing.
I don't even know if I 100% believe the Pit's going to win. I reckon it'll probably be White Lotus based on history.
I mean, I'd be fine with that also, obviously, but I wouldn't love it as much.
And finally, Best Comedy Series. The nominees are Abbott Elementary, The Bear, Hacks, Nobody Wants This, Only Murders in the Building, Shrinking, The Studio, and What We Do in the Shadows. I've gone The Studio, which I think makes sense.
Yeah, The Studio. As much as give What We Do in the Shadows for its last season would be also not terrible. Our final Emmy at the 77th Primetime Emmy Awards.
Yeah.
Is that you, Flim Time Dango?
Yeah. New York City. Yeah, those are our predictions. We'll come back next week when the show actually happens and talk about how many we got right. For now, let's move into giving some thumbs to trailers. Of course, you can find all the trailers we're about to talk about in the show notes below. Kicking things off, Wuthering Heights, directed by Emerald Fennell, starring Margot Robbie, Jacob Elordi, Hong Chow, Shazad Latif, Alison Oliver, Martin Clunes, and Ewan Mitchell. Tragedy strikes when Heathcliff falls in love with Catherine Earnshaw, a woman from a wealthy family in 18th century England. Dylan, what do you think of this teaser trailer for Wuthering Heights?
New Charlie XCX music, 10 out of 10. Can't wait.
That was the title card that you needed, and that was all?
Yep, I'm in.
Did you not know this going in?
No, I knew that going in, but come on. What are you talking about? Of course I know that.
I'll give it 2 thumbs up. It definitely set a tone, an erotic tone.
Yeah.
It's like the wanting and the putting of fingers in places and stuff. So,
Whoa,
I am completely
where?
unfamiliar.
I don't think this is anything like any version of this I've seen before.
Yeah, I suspect this is going to be nothing like any version, but the basic story,
shocked.
I know nothing.
Emerald Fennell's doing a different take on it.
Yeah, so 2 of the biggest Aussie stars going around at the moment, leading the charge.
Playing British people, typical.
Yeah, so looks good. I think they've chosen a correct release date as well, because this one is coming out on the 12th of February, 2026.
Oh yeah, no, what I'm going to do on Valentine's Day. Jerk off in the cinema. What?
It's going to be Saltburn all over again. Next trailer is for Left-Handed Girl, directed by Shi Ching-chu, starring Janelle Tsai, Shi Yun Ma, Nina Ye, Brando Huang, Aku Chien, Jin Yan Chao. A single mother and her 2 daughters relocate to Taipei to open a night market stall, each navigating the challenges of adapting to their new environment while striving to maintain family unity. Dylan, what do you think of the trailer for this Taiwanese film?
Double thumbs up. This looks really, really good. I'm super interested in it. I'm surprised Netflix is putting out something as interesting as this. Wild to me. Because when it came up from the producer, I was like, oh yeah, how's that work? No, so she is a producer on a bunch of Sean Baker, which I was like, oh, that's a connection. But then when I looked it up before, I was like, I didn't realize that there's this film from 2004 called Takeout, which is co-directed by both of them, and I haven't watched. So that's now on my list of things I need to watch before I watch this. But otherwise, back onto this actual film. Very interesting. Love the way it's shot. Totally Florida Project vibes. Totally Sean Baker influences. You can see
Simon.
all over it. Sorry. What did I say? Sean? Did I say? Yeah. Influences all over it. But yeah.
Have you seen how much of his influence is all over it?
No.
Look at the credits.
Co-written. Yeah. Okay.
And also,
what? I just see. I don't say anything else. What else is it?
He also edited the film.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's all. And you know what? Cool. Yeah, so he executive produces it. I'm going to presume, I can't remember his wife's or partner's name, but I assume she's in there as well because she co-produces all his stuff usually. And it does make me wonder though if, because he's talked about in interviews like wanting to use the power he got from Enora to help like make more good movies and stuff like that. And I'm wondering if this is like the first we're sort of seeing of that, you know? Like, would this movie, like, I'm sure it would have got made prior to or around the same time or whatever, but would this movie have got to Netflix without him winning the Academy Award and everything? Because now they get to promote it as like written by and produced by the dude who won, did Enora and stuff. So, yeah, it looks really. Well, I know we're talking a lot about behind the scenes stuff, but the story also looks very interesting, and just the type of vibe of stories he likes to do, which is very focused on American, usually lower economic class and working class people and stuff like that. He's focused on. It's like it's doing that, but where's it? Is it set in like? They say where it's set?
Taiwan.
Yeah, but like I was gonna say the actual city, but I don't
know. No, I don't think
all those cities look the same to me. To be honest, it's just fucking lots of people. Yeah, obviously it looks to be giving the same sort of vibe, which is lower economic class, but not but Taiwanese, I guess.
Yeah, looks fantastic. 2 thumbs up. Like really well put together trailer. You feel for this little girl and her family and that kind of stuff, and looks really good considering it's shot on iPhone. But you can't. I mean, anything that's shot on iPhone now tends to look pretty good. It's hard.
You mean like 28 days later?
It's like why are we even bothering with these expensive cameras anymore?
Yeah, it adds a Well, the thing like there's just certain things you can do, but like there's like when he did Tangerine, which was like iPhone 7 or 8 or whatever the fuck it was at the time. There's just because obviously it's just a bunch of people walking around like these streets and stuff. Like it just adds like a documentary feel, and that's I think what this is doing as well. Adds like this almost documentary feel to it.
Yeah. So it is. Yeah, it's interesting all the behind the scenes stuff as well. Like, they shot this in 2022. Or they started working on it in 2012. They couldn't get struggling to get funding.
That's what I mean. They got funding because of
no, but then the film was shot in 2022. I guess Red Rocket was around then, and like he'd been nominated a few times. Got a little bit of pull. And then obviously this premiered at Cannes this year, and then got purchased by Netflix. So
I looked up also that thing because I didn't know if that was. I was like, is that a real thing? Left hand with the devil? Apparently.
But I mean, historically, like across the world, it was a very common thing.
Not in my white culture.
Not until like much like obviously.
I'm left-handed, Ash. Is all I'm worried.
I mean, left-handedness was a frowned upon thing until like the early 1900s, I believe. And then it's like because people use that as an example of like it's not like there was a sudden surge of gay people. It's like there was always this number of gay people. It's just that there was the stigma around being gay changed, so more people came out. So there was always this amount of left-handed people, but there was a sudden spike because people accepted left-handed people not being the devil.
The gay left-handed people are really
they got the shaft.
That's the struggle.
So anyway, Left-Handed Girl is coming to Netflix on the 28th of November. Now for a tonal twist. Next trailer is for Marvel Zombies. Created by Brian Andrews and Zeb Wells, starring Awkwafina, David Harbour, Simu Liu, Elizabeth Olsen, Randall Park, Florence Pugh, Paul Rudd, Wyatt Russell, Hailey Steinfeld, Tessa Thompson, Dominique Thorne, Iman Vellani, and Todd Williams. Marvel Zombies is set in the alternate timeline introduced in What If, episode What If Zombies, where a virus has turned most of the world's population including the Avengers, into zombies. The series follows a group of survivors as they discover the key to bring an end to the zombie plague, which leads them to risk their lives traveling across a dystopian landscape, fighting superpowered zombies to save the world. Dylan, what do you think is trailer for Marvel Zombies?
Yeah, I enjoyed the Let's Go Heavy Metal soundtrack and found it very funny that they're really showcasing. They're like, the blood's red now. Remember in that last fucking What If it was not red, it was like blue or some shit.
It was just the body parts just came off without
Yeah,
anything.
like it wasn't super. They're like, no, man, we got like blood everywhere now. We got a heavy metal soundtrack. This is basically like a heavy metal animation. Let's go.
Actually, that makes
yeah.
more sense now because obviously it opens with like this series is rated MA. I'm like, okay, like that's on kind of like a weird thing.
That's why I think they did it to really be like, look, the blood's red now.
Yeah.
Look, this dude get his head. Look at this zombie get his head chopped off. I mean, look, there's a part where Spider-Man's like whipping off about 20 zombie heads with webs. That's pretty sick. So double thumbs up.
Yeah, 2 thumbs up. More Florence Pugh speaking.
That's also a
And
thumbs
so
up.
Yolanda Belova. You know, what more could we want? You know. But yeah, it looks gory, looks crazy, and it's all coming in one massive chunk. Or massive, while they're going to be in massive chunks. And yeah, it seems like, you know, obviously focusing on a bunch of characters that are not the mainstream ones we know, you know, much like Avengers Doomsday. Marvel Zombies is coming to Disney Plus all at once on September 24th. Next trailer is for House of Guinness, created by Stephen Knight, starring Louis Partridge, Anthony Boyle, Emily Farn, Fionn O'Shea, David Wilmot, James Norton, and Jack Gleeson. In 1868, the Guinness family patriarch is dead in Dublin. His 4 children, each with dark secrets to hide, holds the brewery's fate in their hands. Dylan, what do you think of the trailer for House of Guinness?
Make my house a house again. You know what I'm saying? It looks. Yeah, I'm gonna go one up, one down. It looks stereotypically the gangs of New York genre, Peaky Blinders sort of stuff. I didn't see anything that was like either bad nor something that was sort of separating it largely from similar sort of stuff that I've seen before. So at least not within the confines of this trailer. So yeah, I'll go one up, one down.
Yeah, I've got one up, one down. I mean, it looks like, well, I mean, it's unsurprising that it looks like Peaky Blinders from the creator of Peaky Blinders, set during that era. I just don't understand why everybody who's not in the Guinness family is upset and is taking this opportunity to try and take them down.
Because they want a drink.
I'm pretty sure they're still providing Guinness.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's not like he's dead, we're shutting up shop. You know, I'm pretty sure they still want to sell Guinness. So, other than that, I mean, it looks pretty interesting and like, you know, an interesting enough story. You know, I'm sure there's crazy family dynamics and awkwardness, seeing as 2 of the kids were kind of written out of the will and all this kind of stuff. So, definitely will be intriguing. Keeping my eye on it when it releases. On Netflix on the 25th of September. Last trailer for this week, big one. 28 years later, The Bone Temple, directed by Nia DaCosta, starring Ray Fiennes, Jack O'Connell, Alfie Williams, Erin Kellyman, and G. Lewis Parry. Taking place after the events of the first film, Spike is inducted into Sir Jimmy Crystal's gang of acrobatic killers in a post-apocalyptic England ravaged by the rage virus. Meanwhile, Dr. Ian Kelson uncovers a deadly discovery that will have consequences that could alter the world. Dylan, we're both big fans of 28 years later. What do you think of the trailer for the upcoming sequel?
What I think is I love being in a world where there was a movie I really liked this year. It's already a trailer for the follow-up. How good's that? Yeah, double thumbs up, obviously. It looks to be continuing the story. It almost makes out like Ralph Fiennes' character is the main character, but maybe because they're not wanting to show too much of the Jimmies in this trailer. We do see a little bit of them and stuff, obviously. But we only see like 1 or 2 shots of the kid, I think. So, but having said that, the trailer for 28 years later was a banger. Didn't really give away a whole heap when you think about watching the movie in full.
It gave away nearly nothing.
Yeah, this is just another tonal piece, and tonally, fuck yes, I'm in.
Mm-hmm. 2 thumbs up. I think they did a very good job of like continuing the tone of at least the trailers with the audio track of the dude speaking again. That was playing at least at the start of the trailer. But yeah, I mean, we do get bits and pieces of like the Jimmies and obviously Ray Fiennes' character a lot more. Yeah, I think we'll probably have dueling, like maybe more of a dual story, or dual protagonist story. If he's got some sort of discovery, he's dealing with he seems to be relating to the Alpha in some sort of way.
if you cut the dick off, they die.
But it's real difficult because they're really big, so you
Yeah.
need to just keep
You need to
whacking.
get in there. Yeah,
It's
just
like a
keep going.
tree.
Yeah. Go for the trunk.
But yeah, I think they're trying to, they know the crazy Jimmy stuff, is going to probably split people's opinions, because I feel like it did at the end of the film. So, maybe they're refraining from using a lot of that, but some crazy visuals and imagery in this, and yeah, very, very excited for this film to hit cinemas. And yeah, I mean, it's crazy that the turnaround is so quick.
Yeah. What happens when you shoot things?
That's crazy. What happens when you shoot things back to back? It's
What
like
happens when the studio was like, you know what? We're going to have some faith in this production and not wait to make decisions based on
box office
how
numbers,
many
and maybe
millions of dollars you can make us over the black line. Like,
just have faith that this is going to make a ton of money.
yeah, well,
20
to get our third one.
Yeah, I mean, we do need to wait, because 28 years later, The Bone Temple releases 15th of January 2026.
That said, I don't feel like if these two, like the first one did good, if this one does as well, I think if they both do okay, and then they're like, look, they both did okay, the third one's going to star Cillian Murphy. They'll be like, yeah, here's the money. Like,
Yeah. All right, let's move into this week's top 3.
Definitely in the top 3.
In honor of The Longest Walk, about to hit cinemas here in Australia, or The Long Walk, I apologize. This week's top 3 is top 3 teen dystopian films or TV. A genre that rose in the early 2010s, died also very quickly in the 2010s.
well,
Dylan, what's your number 3?
my number 3, I went with a TV series that I never finished, but I enjoyed what I watched, which is The 100. In which I can't remember the full service, but it's like Earth is destroyed or something. They basically go down to Earth. They're like 100 kids,
100 children, and all the adults stay on the spaceship.
adults,
or something like that,
adults
right?
stay on the orbit, and because they're like, fuck these kids. The kids are all like the shitty kids too. They're the delinquent kids. So when they get down there, then you get a combination of them figuring out. Turns out there's people down there. Whoa! And then they end up forming alliances, and there's like turn backs on people. Obviously, you get some teen romance, all the usual sort of stuff. I think I watched like 2.5 seasons of. I think I went for like 4 or 5. I can't remember why I stopped. To be honest, probably just did. It's one of those shows where I'm like, if I ever. It's one of those shows in my list of
Maybe.
if I ever get time, I will return. I could return to it as a second screen show. I feel that would be good for it. Something, yeah.
My number 3 is a film called Love and Monsters that released on Netflix during 2020. I believe it. Yeah. No, it didn't get a theatrical release. It was meant to that year, but crazy thing happened that year. Stars Dylan O'Brien as a survivor in a world in which giants, where some sort of unknown chemical came from an asteroid and turned all cold-blooded animals into giant mutant monsters. He is safe in like a bunker, but when he learns that his former girlfriend is in another bunker, he decides to risk it all to try and go find her.
Sorry, but the princess is in another castle.
Yeah, hilarious, crazy antics ensue. The girlfriend in question is played by Jessica Henwick. Ariana Greenblatt plays a little girl that she comes across who's also teams up with Michael Rooker. It's a good time. Underrated. Was nominated for Best Visual Effects that year, so Love and Monsters, pretty good. Dylan, what's number 2?
The Hunger Games.
Ooh.
Great book series, great movie series, better book series, but I mean, all in all, I think the first movie is really good. Second movie is really good. I think they shoot the bed when they do they split the third book into two parts and made two subpar movies in the course of those events. But the prequel we just got was good as well. So I'm just picking that entire franchise as number 2 overall.
My number 2 is Ready Player One. It's a dystopian world in which everybody chooses to escape into Fortnite to feel better about their lives.
Sure.
Directed by Steven Spielberg, starring that dude, but Olivia Cook's there as well. Olivia Cook, that's who I remember. Really good time. I think it's maybe a little bit overhated in my opinion. People a little bit overcritical. But I think good time. Great Ben Mendelsohn performance. Yeah, Ready Player One. What a dystopia. If I had to live in caravans on top of caravans, I'd be depressed as well.
Yep.
Dylan, what's number 1?
Battle Royale.
Unsurprising, really.
Whoa, jokes.
I had a hunch. This would be.
Yeah. I mean, it's when you say like teen dystopian thing, most people, I think, brains will go to Battle Royale. And the thing is, if most people's picks are number 1, The Hunger Games, then they just haven't probably watched.
They just
Battle
accidentally
Royale.
gave it to
So I think that's how it works. But I mean, obviously, this has a few sequels and everything. But the original film, which we did watch for a What Do You Want to Watch episode back in the day, is the teen battle, like literally battle royale, that started it all. That sort of inspired a bunch of other things, including Hunger Games. And I think the important thing about the film is that it is known for being violent and whatever else, but it, even as old as it is, and like, well, not super old, it's like what, 2000, early 2000s or something. I still think that it has all the important things that make the important things that make the movie great. Is it still has all the characters get in there and they're still arguing about nonsensical shit. Like, there's that one girl who just starts going off with that other girl, just be like, "You're a fucking slut." Like, at the end of the day, like, it is still just like a teen. You've still got all the teen angst and elements and whatever tied into it, but then it gets super dark. And I mean, that the end shot though of the girl just smiling with covered in blood as they announce her as the winner. Yeah, that's our dystopian future, everyone.
Any day now. My number 1 is The Hunger Games, but I'm picking of the films Catching Fire, the second one, which I think is the best. Just because of all the machinations around The Hunger Games as well, political implications, and these poor people have to go through it twice. Getting the rough end of the stick. And even dives even deeper into the love triangle and all that kind of stuff. So, and like that one, I feel like they had the clearest story and the biggest budget, and Philip Seymour Hoffman. So yeah, I like Battle Royale. It's been a while since I haven't watched it since we did that spoiler cast, or what did we end up watching? One or the other. So yeah, that is my number 1. Dylan, this week, what do you want to watch?
You may think I'm going to pick The Long Walk.
Mm-hmm.
But what I actually would like to watch, even though I haven't caught up on recent seasons, is the new Demon Slayer movie.
Mm-mm.
Demon Slayer Infinity Castle or some shit, which they showed a trailer for. I've seen a trailer in the cinemas twice now, and both times I've just been like, that looks fun. That looks like a good time. Don't know if I'm probably not going to have time to catch up on where I'm behind, but who cares? Don't need to. Just watch it. I think they said it's like part of I think it's part of a trilogy. I think they're doing 3 movies or something to end the series or something. But yeah, that looks like, it looks above, like, it looks proper movie animation. It doesn't look like a TV anime movie, if you know what I mean. Like, it looks like it looks like it's got a bit more budget and time into it to step it up. If I hadn't already watched it, my pick though would be everyone should go watch Splitsville. That's in cinemas this week. And on the TV front, Taskmaster UK starts again this week.
Well, I'm going to say Longest Walk. I'm very, very keen. A cast of great young actors. I'm very keen to check that out. On the TV front,
Picking the horror movie, and I'm picking the anime movie. What's
I
going
don't know.
on
It's a
here?
horror movie.
What's going? It's a horror movie. It's a horror movie.
Not everything Stephen King wrote is a horror movie.
No, but that one is.
We've already said I've already classified it as just teen dystopian film.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Battle Royale, not a horror movie either.
Yeah. On the TV front, I'm interested in seeing this new Charlie Sheen documentary, aka Charlie Sheen, which is coming to Netflix this week.
When?
I mean, technically, I guess it could be a film. It's just a plain documentary. Well, just also this week, Top End Bub releases on Amazon Prime. Obviously, there's a sequel to Top End Wedding, a very popular Australian film. If I said Top End Bub, what would you expect the plot of that show to be?
Someone gets pregnant and they've got it's a posh baby. Top End Bub. It's gone.
Nearly there. Apparently, I guess the mother dies or somebody dies and they have to take over raising a very much 8 to 12-year-old kid. Who apparently they call Bub.
It's close.
I mean, Bub, but I wouldn't blame you because Bub, I thought it was like, it's a sequel where the kid, they got pregnant and that they have to deal with that.
Bub is baby to me.
Yeah, I know. Lots of interesting stuff coming out this week. So, let us know what you want to see this week. What are your MP predictions? Let us know on Blue Sky at explosionnetwork.com or find us on other social media at ExplosionPod. If you want to help us out here at What Do You Want to Watch, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Podchaser. Leave us 5 stars and equally 5 stars or just tell people about the show. And if you want to help us out, think this episode was worth $1, head on over to give us a coffee at explosionnetwork.com/support. Thank you very much for listening. Until next time, keep watching stuff, I guess.